Let's go into the first item I have today is very exciting. Steel Toe got a nice little shout out on Sirius XM.
Ooh.
Yes, it's very lovely. And a show that I've actually been a fan of for a long time.
We got mentioned on Stern?
Robin, there's this show I was listening to. This guy's great. He has an offering plate. But no, Big J. Oakerson and Dan Soder used to host a show called The Bonfire. And I was a big fan of The Bonfire on Sirius XM. And I think they're still on. Now, this says SXM podcast, but I'm sure they still air on the Comedy Channel on Sirius XM. But Big J. Oakerson had a co-host, Dan Soder. Dan Soder left the show. And now Bobby Kelly, an O&A alumni, is co-hosting the show with Big J. Oakerson. And they were talking about the Mike Calta situation with the girl and the phone and the shove. And, you know, I defended Mike Calta on that because I don't think you should be able to play victim if you did something and then got the result you were trying to get.
Yeah, you antagonized the situation. You're not a victim.
Right. You tried to get the guy to act out so you could hang him on something. He acted out and you're trying to hang him on it. You don't then also get to be the victim. If I go in and I rob a bank and they give me the money and that's what I wanted, and then the cops arrest me, I can't go, oh, why are the cops picking on me? Well, you did everything in your power to make sure the cops come and get you. This woman, who they say is Bubba's girlfriend, this woman clearly was trying to instigate Calta, and you can see it because Bubba the Love Sponge is doing the hackiest, most depressing pro wrestling radio shit shtick I've ever seen in my life. He's still trying to like tag Cox Media and shit, and oh, why are you still employing this guy? Like, he clearly had a plan from the outset when he sent his bitch to go do his dirty work over a guy he's jealous of, Mike Calta, who kicked his ass out of Tampa. Kicked his ass so bad, Bubba had to try and cheat the ratings. Johnny, do you know about Bubba's ratings scandal?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay.
We were, I think we talked about that a long time ago. But yeah, I'm up on it.
The one where he had the woman with the, if you guys don't know, Nielsen will give you these people meters. They're like little pagers. And it measures what you listen to and for how long. They got those because it used to just be, and St. Cloud still does it this way, the diary format, where you write down, oh, what have you been listening to the last 6 months? And people would go, oh, I listened to Steel Toe for 4 hours every day. And we would just rack up the time spent listening. I mean, we would just fucking kill in that. But then they'd put on these people meters, and they'd realize, well, actually, you listen for about an hour and a half a day, not 4 hours. So Bubba had this woman, because Mike Calta was starting to kick his ass in the ratings. And so Bubba had this woman take her people meter and set it next to the radio with his station on all day. And now, if you're a radio person, the way it goes is, I can't know you have one of these. I know one time,
that's illegal.
One time one person told me that they had a diary. I told them, I'm sorry, I can't have this information. I can't tell you what to write down, so on and so forth. I copied it, pasted it, sent it to my boss, and sent it to Nielsen to let them know, like, look, this came to me unsolicited. This is how I handled it. And, you know, after that, Nielsen goes, oh, thank you very much. We appreciate that, and thank you for being honest, blah, 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 blah. Bubba said, oh, no, here's how we're going to game the system. Here's how we're going to rig it. You take your meter and you put it right next to. They found out, and he still might not be able to be rated by a Nielsen market. It just kind of killed his radio career. Well, I guess he's still trying to get back at Calta because he tried to get, he had this woman who I guess he's fucking, go to one of Calta's.
That's the one plus I will give him. He's definitely batting outside his league to hit that.
Yeah, who would have
thought? I'm not saying she's a good get. I'm saying if you grade on a curve, that is his gut. If you grade on a curve, it's pretty good for him.
Yeah, if you grade on the Bubba 2023 curve, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
So she goes to a live event that Calta was doing and sticks a phone in his face and goes, you know, it just starts a mile a minute, just very obnoxious. So Calta goes, no, we're not doing this. Takes the phone, says, hey, you can get it back. He stops her live stream and goes, you can get it back when, security meets you outside. She goes clawing over him, trying to grab the phone, touching him all over, and he shoves her out of the way. I'm totally fine with everything he did. because that woman was trying to get a reaction. She got what she wanted. He got to get her out of his face. Everybody wins.
Yeah. And now knowing that she's Bubba's girlfriend and stuff, I'm even less surprised that she jumped out and went after the phone. And also, I think like even more justified in his case to push her back, because she's gonna just go ham on him until he does something. So you have to respond, or who knows, you might get your eye poked or something.
Sure. So then we talk about it, and again, I think you could say that I was pretty vehement in my defense of Mike Calta. Apparently on the Bonfire, Big J Oakerson and Robert and Bobby Kelly were making jokes about it, as a show like ours is supposed to do. But I was letting my misogyny go for a walk. So as I let my misogyny go for a walk, which feels so good. I mean, every time I'm doing it, I know I sound angry. If you ever hear me and I'm going off on some rant about some chick who tried to play victim after she instigated something, and you ever worry about me and you go, oh my God, Aaron's, upset. Trust me, I'm having a great time. It's like you watch a dog tearing at something and he's growling. They're like, oh no, he's angry. You're like, no, he's just playing. That's how you need to treat me when I'm when I'm letting my misogyny go for a walk. Aaron's just playing.
It's a stress release thing. He's venting. It looks angry, but trust me, what happens after is a calm washes over. Like, and it's gone now.
Right. It's a calm settles over me. Well, Big J apparently, Johnny, listened to our coverage of the Mike Calta situation.
Right. Fuck these women.
Big J Oakerson, who I've been a fan of for a long time, and the Bonfire, which I was a big fan of when it was him and Dan Soder. I haven't listened a lot lately. That's not anything intentional. It's just sometimes you start listening to stuff for a long time and you stop and then you pick it up again. Well, he gave us a quick mention on Bonfire, and I wanted to play it to show you, like, Bonfire, I guess, handled it where they just made a shitload of jokes about the Calta thing. And that's definitely how I intended to cover it. But then I just started hating the woman so much, as I want to do, that it turned it. I just love watching the perception of this show from a stranger's eyes who's never seen it before. I think in this little 5 to 7 second mention that Big J gives us, there's a tone in his voice that insinuates that as he was listening, he was going, Jesus Christ, this guy's out of his fucking mind. And I want to give it a listen. It's at about 9:45.
On the
is where
red
it starts. I gotta make sure I get. I'm sorry. It's
your ass kicked.
We'll jump around a bit. Here we go. Almost there.
And then
here we
said
go.
It hit me in the heart. You pointed to your heart.
Because she said we were all being misogynistic, taking his side. And first of all,
okay, so they're talking. Oh shit! I tried to hit pause. They're talking about their coverage and how people were shitting on them for their coverage of the Calta thing, saying they were being mean, they were being misogynist, this and that. So,
and they used you as a defense.
Jay Oakerson used our show as a defense, as to no, we're not sexist. This other guy, this other guy I was listening to, giant woman hating piece of shit. So I'll back up a little more so you guys can hear the setup of this one.
these insecurities, emotional buttons to get them to do something, and then became a victim. And that's fucking outrageous.
I'm not disagreeing but she's awful, but he shouldn't have done that.
What did the email say?
I can read it. It wasn't really like, honestly, I thought
Did this girl send you pussy pictures or something?
No.
Yeah.
You want, I can read the email.
Why did it make you turn around so much? You're like, it hit me. You said it hit me in the heart. You pointed to your heart.
Because she said we were all being misogynistic, taking his side. And first of all, I wasn't.
Really?
I don't
we
think
made 7,000 jokes about him being a woman beater.
We made fun of him the whole time.
We actually went at him so much that Bobby, I think, was genuinely nervous. Like, Bobby has to answer to him at some point, and he said, luckily, that Mike thought it was funny and like laughed. But I was like, because when I listened to another podcast, I told you that Steel Toe Morning Show, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like, they just had his back like earnestly. They didn't make a lot of jokes.
Well, me.
That made me laugh so hard when I heard it because, again, I don't know if you picked it up in his tone, but he's like, they were defending him earnestly.
Like, earnestly? Like, they were going really hard?
They weren't even making jokes. They were just like, yeah, fuck this bitch. Mike Calta's fine. He's okay. And it made me kind of think back on the 2 rants I had on the Calta thing. And I went, I can't argue with the guy. He's right. I dug the fuck in on the Mike Calta situation. But I just love that a guy that, because I like his Gas Digital podcast. I like the Bonfire. I think a lot of him as a comic. So for him to sit and listen to a clip we did shows me 2 things. 1, I need to do clips. 2, it's just funny to have a guy listen to you for a few minutes and just totally get it, like totally understand what he's like. Yeah, because they were getting email complaints about the jokes they did about the Mike Calta thing. And Bobby Kelly agreed with me. He said, well, I don't like that this chick is playing victim after she went in there and started shit. And I was like, yeah, exactly. That's my point. I just screamed it for 15 minutes rather than making a few woman beater jokes. Probably because secretly that's the ending I was hoping for. But they're getting emails from people going, how dare you make light of this situation? Here's a tip for Big J and Bobby Kelly. If you don't want to get those emails, which maybe you do because they're fun to read on the air and to make fun of those people. We've done that in the past. But if you don't want to get those emails, just go so far overboard with your misogyny and hatred and anger and toxicity, they won't even write you. This has happened a lot of times. I haven't been written to because I'm just seen as such a lost cause demon child. They go, I'm not even going to complain about this piece of shit. He's such an awful, evil hunk of shit that I'm not even going to bother complaining. Meanwhile,
you lean into the point where they say something along the lines of like, no, they were defending him earnestly.
Yeah, like you get a guy going, a comic, by the way, who is not a safe comic. I don't know who knows who Big J Oakerson is, but he's a good, edgy comic. I hate that word, but there's no other way to explain it. He's not certainly a guy he's not a guy who holds back. So for a guy like that to go, yeah, I was listening to the Steel Toe Morning Show, and that guy was defending him earnestly, to make him do not an uncomfortable laughter, but a laughter.
We made him blush.
Yeah, for me to make a guy like Jay go, holy shit, this fucking guy. That makes me feel good. I also want to thank Citizen M for sending that to me. Citizen M sent me that and goes, he tweeted it and like, oh, Big J Oakerson has good taste. Attaboy,
that
Citizen
was awesome
M.
of him.
You want to hear it one more time?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's go back.
Him at some point, and he said, luckily that Mike thought it was funny and laughed. But I was like, because when I listened to another podcast, I told you that Steel Toe Morning Show, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like they just had his back like earnestly. They didn't make a lot of jokes.
Well,
I'm like, we just made jokes about it the whole time.
Can I just say something?
That'd be funny. Jay gets that letter from a fan and then sends him a link of ours and goes, no, this guy's a giant piece of shit. You should be writing him a letter. He's the misogynist here. We're just making some jokes. He's the one holding a fucking rally over the thing. But I shows like that, you got to love it when people write you. As if it's going to change the way you perform. That you're going to get that letter from an angry fan and you're going to go, shit.
Well, now that I pissed somebody off.
Now, I didn't know you were upset. Now I feel bad.
Well, and plus people's behavior would give you a clue to that. Like, I think especially like with regards to the show, it just anytime someone would be like, oh, well, we thought we could make you feel shame. Like, look at the trail of bodies of people who tried that tactic before. You thought that was going to work. I mean,
right. I'm going to write a letter. And you know what Big J Oakerson's going to do? He's going to change the way he does his program because I wasn't happy with him because you're his target audience. So, yes, thank you to Jay Oakerson and thank you to the Bonfire for listening to that clip. And unfortunately, kind of getting the vibe of this show from time to time. The vibe of this show being, hey, I went into it meaning to be funny, but I just kind of got mad.
I went into it meaning to be funny, but then misogyny reared its ugly head, and I just went, nah, go with it.
I got about 17 Mike Calta beating the shit out of women jokes in my head, and then I just saw a woman with phone, and I went, fucking get her! And, I like
watch
to think...
it.
I like to
watch it.
Fucking watch it. They need to put like Crowder drops in every man-woman interaction now.
Yeah.
Where it's just she takes out the phone in front of Calta and you just have watch it. Fucking watch it. But look, there's a plan A for humor on this show. There's plan B. Plan A is let's do some jokes. Let's have some fun. Plan B is let's see how many shades of red Aaron's face can turn. And both of them work. Matt Melt with $4.99 starting us off today says you got to get on Steam and pick up Command and Conquer Remastered. Brings back memories. Maybe I will.
Remastered ones are awesome.
Hobo Chili Recipe with $4.99 says, good morning, gentlemen. Aaron, how far along are you in the pregnancy? Your little baby pouch is adorable. I've been out of the gym for a while. And, I'm probably I've been sick. We'll get back at it. I promise you. Hobo Chili says, I will give you credit, Aaron. You do a better Macho Man than Dan Soder does. I've said this on the show before. You cannot say my Macho Man is better than Dan Soder's. My Macho Man is crafted after the template that Dan Soder left. So I don't think I can be better than his, because a lot of people who do impressions, they do impressions of an impression. Like a lot of
my Macho Man is an impression of yours.
And mine's an impression of Dan Soder's, and I'm sure his is an amalgamation.
Which is why mine sucks. It's like diffusion or telephone. As you go further down the chain and further away from the source, it just gets worse.
Well, then, like people who do a Christopher Walken impression, they're doing Jay Moore's Christopher Walken.
Oh, I just do Christopher Walken, but yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I watch a shitload of Christopher Walken.
And then I'm trying to think of who else has a very famous impression. Johnny Carson. Everybody who does Johnny Carson is probably doing Rich Little. It's just there's certain... George H.W. Bush, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, that's definitely...
Everybody just goes, not gonna do it. Like that. He doesn't say that. Dana Carvey says that. You're doing an impression of an impression, which is fine.